care to share your race, ethnicity, or nationality?
Okay, yes. So I'm Brazilian. I'm fully Brazilian. Wasn't born, but I'm first generation American. So I was born in Queens, New York, Astoria, but Flushing Hospital, but Astoria. And I have like my citizenship in Brazil and stuff like that. I speak Portuguese, super Latina from the inside and out. Um, my race is black. I get a little. Everyone kind of that whole thing is confusing. It's not one of those things that I necessarily think about because, and I mean, there's only like white, black, and like Asian, right? And then like whatever else. But I'm clearly black, but I am culturally and fully Brazilian. So, everyone has their opinions and stuff like that. A lot of people call me Afro Latina. Um, I grew up Brazilian. Those things don't really matter. Brazil is so diverse that like we don't really look at that type of stuff. Like, yeah, some people do, of course. Racism exists everywhere in the world, but like we don't really look at that. And my family, we're like all different colors. Like my dad and my middle brother, they're like really light, like really like Caucasian looking. And then my mom and my oldest brother, they're like more tan, and then like I'm the brownest one. So like that's not something we've ever like paid attention to, talked about, cared about. That's not what I care about. I don't ever look at people for their nothing. I just, see the soul. But yeah, I'm Brazilian.
And what's the main language you speak at this point?
English, but I did learn English and Portuguese at the same time. It's kind of like, my parents, they mainly just kind of speak Portuguese to us. They could speak English, but they mainly just speak Portuguese. And yeah, I just would go to school and I would speak English. I lived here. I went to school, had friends who spoke English, but fully always was speaking Portuguese. Went to Brazil my whole life, so always had that in my pocket.
And be that as it may, have you took a foreign language class in school, perhaps?
Yes, twice. So I did take in college. I took Portuguese to refine my Portuguese. The way I was speaking Portuguese at first was like would be considered uneducated in Brazil. Like it was really like just butchered. And then like I kind of learned like the proper way of speaking. And then, but I didn't stay in that class for very long. I probably was in that class for like 3 months or something. I don't know. And then I learned Japanese in ninth grade. I learned a whole year of Japanese. I didn't get to learn the rest because I wasn't aware of like how I was able to learn it. I could have learned all 4 years, but I ended up just learning 1 year. But yeah.
Now, what was the school for ninth grade for you at the time, and what was the college as well?
So the school that I went to that had Japanese available was Dr. Phillips, and that was in Orlando. It's like a high school that's like right next to, it's like a magnet school right next to Universal Studios, like directly like across the street. And then the college was Valencia. I didn't graduate. I didn't even, yeah. I probably went for like one semester or two or something, but it was Valencia.
And when it came to the Japanese language class, the proper Portuguese language class, those times when you did take those classes, did you take them serious? Did you try to learn those languages further? Did you give it an honest shot? Because some people don't.
Yes, I fully went into Japanese. When I saw that that school was offering Japanese, I almost died because I was already obsessed with anime and all that stuff, and I was dying to learn Japanese. I was already listening to a lot of Japanese music since a kid, and really, I don't know, I'm just very interested in learning different languages. My mom, when she was young, her dream was to be a translator. So she has like this forte for learning languages. And everyone in my family, like my oldest brother could speak Italian, my other brother speaks French, I speak Japanese, my mom knows Spanish and stuff like that. We all kind of know Spanish, but or like, words from each one. I think my other brother, like my middle brother, also knows like a little bit of German. So we just kind of know, we're just really good at learning languages, and I decided to go with Japanese. I don't know how. Maybe it's something to do with Japan and Brazil being like, I don't know, besties. Like there's a 20% Japanese people in Brazil, and there's a lot of Brazilians in Japan. But the language is almost very easy to learn. I have no idea how, but I had a A++ in that classroom. My teacher loved me. We actually weren't allowed to like go to the bathroom unless we knew how to say it in Japanese. So it was just like super cool. She was a great teacher, like amazing. Like she made it so easy to learn Japanese because she would use like all styles of like learning. She would use like visual and like auditory and like uh, like physical or writing. I forgot the last learning style. But yeah, she kind of made it like super easy, and I was like dedicated to learning it. It was like,
Now, in high school for you, was that a requirement or an elective having a foreign language class back in those days?
I think it's a requirement. It's just that there was German, French, Japanese. I think there was Chinese too, and Spanish. And I already knew Spanish. And I don't know anybody German, and I had no plans to go to Germany. And French, it wasn't like, I wasn't like ever like aspiring to go to France, even though I do want to go to France. But Japan was definitely a place that I dreamed, at the time, had dreamed and knew I was one day going to go to. So I was like, well, I love it. I'm going to learn it. Like, so I learned my little year of Japanese.
Any loose ends you want to tie from this interview with the previous topics you were asked? Anything that needs further clarification from what was said in this interview?
I had just like remembered when you asked like my race. That one's like an unknown because birth certificate says white. Family is like mixed colors. Everybody tells me I'm black. I don't know, but stop caring about race. Stop caring about race. That is not what's important. It's about respect.
Anything else that needs clarification?
I don't think so. I don't think so.